Hello everyone, my name is David. Thank you for joining me today for the Monday Q&A, Monday videos that I do every single week. I want to welcome new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate all of you. Please, all of you, ask me questions. What I'm doing in these videos, I'm asking your guys' questions from last week, last Q&A Monday. And any questions you guys have today, please go down below into the comment section. Ask me anything you want and I'll answer them in the next Q&A, next Monday. I like to recommend something every single week to you guys to help you recover from your traumatic experiences. This week I want to recommend something that I classify as supplemental therapy. So not to take place of talk therapy, something to go along with talk therapy. I think that, you know, it almost doesn't even matter what you guys do to supplement your therapy. As long as it's not causing more damage, you know, it's about that commitment to your healing, to your recovery, and it's about investing in it. It's about raising your self-worth the more that you do for yourself. So this is something that I thought was really, really cool. And I've heard so many good results. Now, I have not tried this yet. This is something that I found recently, so I didn't do it when I was recovering. But I have just heard so many good things, and I just feel like this would be such a good thing to not just, well, for two things. Reset your brain is something that I want to do to people who have had such traumatic experiences, and we really need to change our whole lives, and we need to, you know, heal from something so traumatic and really change the way that our brain thinks and operates. This is a great way to reset that. I've talked about many other things that you guys can do to reset your brain. Simple things as cold showers, to changing your environment around you. But this is a good one. So let me get to it. Known as sensory deprivation or isolation or flotation tank. It's also known as R.E.S.T, an acronym. The acronym R.E.S.T standing for Restricted Environment Stimulation Therapy. Floating in a locked tank full of salt water. Salt water makes you more buoyant. And so they put so much salt in there that you completely float without moving. And you just sit there and float in a tank. The ones I've seen, they turn all the lights off. They might have some cool little colored light in there with you. And you spend some time in there, and it tries to cut off all of the information coming in to your senses. And so you have nothing to think about. And I just think it would be so great. And I'd love to hear any of your guys' feedback who have done it or who will do it now. Please come back and tell me what it was like. I think it just sounds like such a great idea. Not only, like I was saying at first, not only to reset your brains, but this is a great way to deal with just normal daily stresses, man. Life is tough, isn't it, guys? Life's hard. Life's tough. Life can be very stressful. You know, either we have our own families and our children we're taking care of, or just us we're taking care of, and meeting busy schedules that we do every day and running around all the time. I think this would be wonderful. Really, I think this would be great. So I think that I've looked in as far as America. I have found this in almost every single major city with different options, different companies doing it. I have found it as low as $35 a session. I've seen it as high as $50 and a little more. So it's not something terribly expensive. It's not something you have to keep doing. Why don't you guys try this just at least once when you really give that reset to your brain and take away, for people who have CPTSD, people that are experiencing after effects of trauma, this is such a great thing to help you feel safe momentarily and to kind of hopefully get rid of a lot of these crazy thoughts and to kind of just allow your brain to pause and stop for a second. Wouldn't that be nice if you could just not have any thoughts for a little while? That might be impossible right now for some of you, but it might really help all of you, okay? Just a suggestion, I'll put, I honestly don't know what links to put down below. I tried to look for some national company that does this in different countries. I couldn't find any, and it seemed like just local companies in every city. So just look it up. Like I said, I'll put the description in the description box. I'll put the, what it's called and stuff like this. Hopefully that'll help. Thanks, guys. Let me know if any of you guys have done it or if you do it. Please tell me what it's like. So let's get started with the questions. First question. Oh, and all I ask from you guys, please, is give me your locations. Tell me where you guys are. Just general, broad, not your address. You don't even have to tell me your city or state. Tell me the country. Tell me what side of the earth you're on. Something. It helps us feel like a little bit more together for everybody. Thanks. So first question is from Andy. Don't know where you're from. Andy asks, thank you for your work. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm currently working hard, repairing myself and getting more fit, etc. I'm having a problem after the gym. I've been getting far too drunk. How can I avoid this this poor choice? And I reduced your question down to the basic what your question was. And so just try to understand first. Let's try to understand what's going on. And if you're experiencing something that was traumatic and you have a lot of emotions, it makes us feel a little bit more unstable than normal. Then when our lives are doing really well and there's not a whole bunch of stuff going on that's stressors and stuff like this. So when we have less stress, we also have a lot of less emotions going on through our day. And I'd imagine you recovering from these things, you may still have a lot of emotions going on. You said that you're working out, etc., and repairing yourself. So how are you doing that? Right? Let's get some of our emotions out there and really talk about them with someone. Okay? Because that might be what needs to happen. More emotions make us less stable, and it makes us more impulsive, and we make poor choices, just like you're making right now, Andy. That sounds it sounds like that's what's going on. And if you had a therapist, a life coach, professional, someone to talk to on a regular basis, not only do they hold you accountable for things like this, like if you were my client, I'd say, oh, that's too bad, Andy, you got drunk and you don't like to do that? Okay, you don't want to? Okay. And then I'm going to ask you about it if you drink, how much you drink and stuff like this next time you see me. And also, you'll have somebody to share your feelings and emotions with. A lot of this stuff is because we're bottling up emotions and we don't know how to express them and get them out, and we hold them inside, and it makes us less stable, okay? And it makes us more impulsive. And now that you do stuff like this, it can get into a cycle, because you'll do this and then you'll physically feel maybe hungover the next day, or you'll feel guilty and ashamed of what you've done, and it makes us feel less worthy to do the right thing. It makes us want to make mistakes more and more. So I'm glad that you realize it's a problem. You're aware that you don't like it. So why don't you try to really deeply try to understand why it's going on, and I would try to feel more stable in your life by getting some of these emotions out, expressing them so that we can close them. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Please ask me questions if it doesn't. Thanks, Andy. Next question is from Gerald. Don't know where you're from either, Gerald. What is the silent treatment, and why do narcissists do it? Silent treatment, come on, it's just simply, I'm not talking to you. I'm going to ignore you, right? You talk to me, I ignore you. I don't look at you. I don't respond to my text messages if I'm not with you. But it's horrible abuse. It's really trying to hurt someone. And it can be psychologically damaging. It's the worst kind of isolation. It's the, I always say the worst loneliness in the world is when you're with someone else and you're lonely. That's worse than being by yourself and lonely. You know what I mean? I know all of you guys know what I mean by that. So it's not talking to you. But why do narcissists do it? Well, different reasons, Gerald. Like I was saying before, it's a real manipulation tactic. It's to get what they want. Things like this. I say this all the time, whenever you guys are not sure why they do stuff like this, people do weird things and you can't figure out why they're doing it, most likely they are simply trying to meet their needs, give themselves things that they need emotionally, and they don't know how to do that. People with personality disorders really don't know how to do that. Narcissistic personality disorder means somebody has such low self-esteem, they don't have communication skills, they're not going to ask you for things that they want, they're going to manipulate you to get the things that they want. Okay, and that silent treatment is one way to do that. They don't have very good communication skills. A lot of narcissists have been deeply neglected, and the more neglect you have from your parents, no matter how much, a little neglect or a lot, depending on how much, is the amount of conversation and talking and communicating you're lacking as well, and that makes it harder for people to communicate with their peers as they grow up. Okay. To the point where you can be socially inept and can't communicate and can't ask for anything you want, like a narcissist, okay? What's the biggest, and the second question from Gerald is, what's the biggest weapon to a narcissist? And I think the biggest thing that narcissists have on you is, as they get to know you, they get to know your core vulnerability and other vulnerabilities you have. How do you know what your core vulnerability is? Typically, it's either shame or deprivation. Okay, and you can usually find out what your core vulnerability is. This is a good way to know it, is the thought of being homeless instantly, right now. Bam, you've lost your home and you are now homeless. Are you more concentrating, thinking, worried, afraid of that people will find out? That fear that you failed and that you're homeless? Or is it that deprivation that you'll be deprived of the things that you need? Your shelter and a bed and your kitchen and your bath. What scares you more? And that is your core vulnerability. And predators find this out right away and they exploit it. And that is their biggest weapon, is when they get to know you, right? That's why narcissists that don't know you can't hurt you as much as a narcissist that knows you, right? Third question from Gerald. When will a narcissist reveal themselves with a new supply? And that's too general, Gerald, because they don't all do the same exact things, and they don't even do it all for the same reasons, stuff like this. Okay, so when will a narcissist reveal themselves with a new supply? I think, when do they like finally come out that they're with somebody? I think that's what you're asking. And I think typically, you know, they either no longer care what you think, they're totally done with you, or they want to do it to hurt you, to rub it in your face and say, look, I'm a happy one. I'm a successful one. There's nothing wrong with me. Must be something wrong with you. Ha, you're single. You're single. Nobody likes you. Ha ha. Hope that makes sense. That's my opinion. Thanks, Gerald. Next question is from Nancy in Seattle. Hello, Nancy. Can you please give me advice on how to deal with the torturous duty of co-parenting with my narcissist ex? And you went on this, you explained how he is horribly manipulating your child. And you know what? There was at least one more person who asked me, oh, here we go. Cheyenne, how do I deal with this? Co-parenting always, how do I deal with this? And you're co-parenting, and he always says stuff to get a reaction. I don't know what to say to my 2-year-old. I'll never forget what he's done. And Brenda from California asks, I no longer have contact with my daughter's father, but struggle to explain this to my daughters when they ask of him. A lot of questions about this. Just seeing right now, huh? Okay, so to Nancy and Cheyenne, how do you give you some basic co-parenting suggestions? Okay, what I know about this, which is quite a bit. Even though I do not have children, I've learned quite a bit about this, doing this, and helping others, helping a lot of people with this. I see a lot here of he says this to me, she says that to me. Really gets under my skin. I'll never forget. I'll never forgive. You know, all this stuff. These are clear indications we're not healed yet. And it's no fault of yours. It's not you to blame. And this might just be brand new. This might just started this year, the divorce and all this. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are at, but we need to heal. We need to fix mom. And I've heard so many excuses why mom won't get fixed. I've heard so many. I've heard them all. Pretty sure I've heard them all. And there is none. There's no good one. The best mother is the healthiest and happiest, is the one that fixes themselves and works on themselves and is very strong. Okay? And we have to do this first. We cannot take care of our children if we're not taking care of ourselves. We can't. It just doesn't work like that, guys. And if you think that, then you're lacking the awareness to see the problem with that. Mom cannot suffer or the children suffer, period. Especially emotionally, like this, especially this. This can be dealt with between your lawyers. Eventually, maybe not until the divorce is final, maybe not in the beginning, but eventually this can be set up, and it should be set up so that it's dealt with just the lawyers, and that you never even see or talk to each other. Language communication should be none. If it has to be, then it's through emails only. We don't even talk to each other. We don't see each other. Okay? Drop off and pick up with kids can be at stuff like school, after school lessons, at a mutual person's grandparents' house, right? At their grandparents or your grandparents. I mean, their parents or your parents' house. Stuff like this. This needs to be set up, dealt with, set in stone, so there's no misunderstanding, so that we can't constantly keep changing this stuff. It's not going to be perfect. You guys married, or at least had children with a person who's disordered, and it's not ever going to be perfect, I don't think. There's some things you guys are going to have to deal with, like last second change of plans, accusations every once in a while maybe, or whatever, but it doesn't have to be still abusing you. It shouldn't be. And it shouldn't be this, they're able to say things that get under your skin still and things like this. Just so that's the first. Document everything. Write down what he did, what he said to your children, what your children came and said to you. Document everything. And you write down the day and time, and you write down always the emotion. Write down emotions. Everything it made you feel. Everything it made you feel. From suicidal to annoyed, to anxious, to depressed, to sad, to scared and fear and worry and all these things. Write them down, document them as we go. Everyone needs to be in therapy. You do whatever it takes so that you're in therapy and the children are in therapy. You fight for that. Use insurance, use cash, whatever you need to do. And you too, mom, dad, need to be in therapy. We don't overcompensate. Mom and dad both have a role, and if one of them's not in their life, they're not going to get that. That sucks for the kids. They're going to be okay. We don't overcompensate because it causes so many problems, like not holding children accountable or responsible for things that they've done, their actions and mistakes and stuff like this. Telling them it's okay, don't worry about it, no, we're not going to punish you, or punishing too much, taking away too much to make them good and listen and not turn out like their narcissistic mother or father. No, do not overcompensate. And everything you do with love. Love, 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 love. Communication, talk to them, emotional connection. And there becomes a time where you must tell your children. This is something that I didn't really believe at first, but I strongly believe now. There comes a time, and that's up to mom or dad, it's up to the parents, when we explain to the children what's wrong with mom and dad. And we do not ever accuse mom and dad and make them look or sound like bad people. Children will pick up on that, and they don't want that. You do not do that. You show integrity and you show respect so that you teach your children that. You teach them what's wrong with their parent only so that the child knows how to deal with them better. Mom and dad is like this, and this is what it means when they do this and they say this to you. Just try to do this, get through it, and tell me about it later. You're going to be okay. Tell your doctor, tell your therapist about it, and just keep talking to them, keep helping them know what to do. I hope that makes sense. That may seem general, but it's a lot. And the healthier that you get, the better the children will be. The easier it'll be for them, and the healthier it'll be for them. The safer they'll feel, the more security they'll feel they have. That mom's okay, happy and healthy, and they don't have to worry about how mom is doing and how mom is suffering or dad. Yeah, so how do I deal with this? Co-parenting always says stuff to get a reaction. Yeah, it shouldn't be able to do that. And we document it, and we show the lawyers, and we show the judge, okay? We don't show the children. I don't know what to say to my 2-year-old. I don't know what you say to a 2-year-old. And if that was the right age that you meant to write, a 2-year-old, I don't know what to say to a 2-year-old really either. That's tough. I would see a child therapist. You said, I'll never forget what he's done. You don't have to forget, Cheyenne, but you have to heal. You have to. That's your responsibility to yourself and to your daughters. Do it. Heal. Do whatever it takes to heal, Cheyenne. How to deal with a torturous duty of co-parenting with my narcissistic ex. He manipulates my children, and that's just awful. That's awful. Try to realize, guys, that Your children's parent that has failed them is not your fault. Okay? So you don't have to make up for it. Does that make sense? It sucks. And we try to help the children understand what's going on so they don't feel like it's their fault and they're a bad person all the time and not good enough. That's what they'll feel like, okay? Brenda from California, I just want to make sure. See, I no longer have contact with my daughter's father, but struggle to explain this to my daughters when they ask of him. So your daughters aren't allowed to see their father and they want answers. Give it to them, Brenda. We do it with respect, right? Who are you, Brenda? What's important to you? Honesty, integrity, loyalty, respect. Yeah? Explain to your daughters what's wrong with their father using those. Using integrity, compassion, empathy, love. Explain it to them that way. Okay? Good luck. Heal, 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 guys. Go see therapists. Heal. Life coaches, whatever. Find the help that you need. Good luck. Joa from Belgium, hello. What do you think about giving a second chance to a narcissist after a hoovering? Very general question. The title, see, the title doesn't really help me, man. You know, like the narcissist. How about, what do you think about giving a second chance to someone who's abused you? How about that? Right? Because I'm guessing this narcissist has abused you, and that's why you want to give a second chance. Because they failed on the first chance. They hurt your feelings, right? And then they went away, never apologized, but now they want something back. Now they want something from you. And should you give them a second chance to hurt you? I wouldn't. What do I think about it? I think that's foolish. Especially if they have a personality disorder, huh? Right? What have they done to cure their personality disorder while they've been gone? What have they done? That's something very important to ask all the time, guys. When someone tells you that they've been through a lot of stuff or they did something bad, I'm sorry. I'm changed. I'm a new person now. Why? Why? I want to know why. Tell me, show me why. Make me understand what you have learned. Okay? Very important. Seriously. Because there's another question kind of like this that I want to give the same answer to. But I, you know, if this person's abused you, that relationship is totally over, okay? And narcissists objectify people. They think people are objects. And then they abused you, then they really thought you're an object. How are they going to turn you into a human being now? How do you go from an object to a human being? I've seen how they turn people into objects, but I haven't seen how they turn objects into human beings. I've never seen that yet. Why give someone another chance to hurt you? Why? Tell me the benefits. Tell me the benefits. And don't just say, I love them. What do you love about them? What is it that you love about them? Is that something you can't find in other people? You know? Cognition. Work on your cognitive skills. Work on all the information that's coming in, everything you know, and put it out in front of you and weigh it all out. And it's just way better to do that with somebody else. I promise. Smiley, how do you explain the no contact rule? Isn't it the same as the narcissist game? No. Narcissist silent treatment. The victims are trying to escape and never talk to them again is no contact. The reason is because there's an addictive element. We are vulnerable. We have been victimized. We are weak. We can fall prey to them again. We will come back and believe they're crap again. We have such low self-worth. We've been beaten and beaten down and lost, and we're failures. And nobody else cares. Nobody else understands. We're all alone. And we've lost ourselves, compromised ourselves so much. We put our own self-worth in their hands. And now they want to come back and hoover us and tell us that we're worth a little something to them. We have some value again to them. And we're like, ooh, really? Oh. We look on their, and then we fall victim to them again. We look on their Facebook and we see that they're with somebody else like this. And we're like, God, they're happy. And it screws with our head and we keep looking. And every time we keep looking, we're ashamed that we looked. And we feel like idiots. And then our self-worth goes down so that we're more likely to look again. Maybe even look and then maybe even call and contact. Why are you with that slut? I saw you on Facebook. She's a whore. She's stupid. She's ugly. I'm better than her. How could you ditch me for that? No contact rule. There's an addictive element to this. A lot of you know what I'm talking about, right? And addictions are number one. I've seen drug addicts sell their children for a hit. Hope that makes sense, Smiley. Thank you. And I'm going to save these for part 2. That's the end of part 1. Thank you, all of you. I'll see you in part 2. If you can, help me out by voting up or down, comments, ask me questions, subscribe to my channel, and share this video in places, groups, and forums, stuff like that. Thank you, guys. I'll see you in part 2. Bye.